right.
Bill, how long you been duck hunting?
Well, this is my 78th season.
Duck hunting?
Yeah.
How old are you, 125?
Yeah, I feel like it sometimes.
Well, that's a long, long time. Well, you've seen a lot of changes in duck hunting then over the years,
a
haven't
lot
you?
of them. I started duck hunting the year DU came into being, and when they had the first federal duck stamp for $1, and of course Social Security, all that around 1935 and 36.
Wow.
And so that's been quite a while. I got lucky during the war. I was in World War II and the Korean War, and I got lucky, and unfortunately it didn't interrupt my string of duck seasons. I was able to follow up on those. But like you said, that's a long time.
Long time ago.
I've had so many good seasons, so many. We had a club up there. We took over the old Diamond Duck Club up at Horseshoe Lake and outside of Granite City. And that used to belong to Mr. Anheuser from Anheuser-Busch, Mr. Winkleman from City Ice and Fuel. There were 5 members up there. And they owned the old Diamond Duck Club on Horseshoe Lake there, which was probably one of the best diver lakes in the Midwest. And we found a lot of valuable relics there where they used the solid body cedar decoys, and they used live decoys, and they kept a journal on their hunting, and it was unbelievable. And believe it or not, somewhere around there, it disappeared, was one of the original Audubon Wildlife series, that 1,000 series of Audubon bird book. And I saw where one of those sold up at Christie's, I think it was, in New York, for something like $86,000 not too long ago. But really enjoyed reading their diary, especially about, there was one really impressive part there, and they finished the season that year. I think, what year was it? That was in the 30s there. It said, this is the saddest day in the duck hunter's life because this is the last day that we can hunt with live decoys. And I thought that was quite amusing there.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Sentries in there when I said we had a big front come in, and big flight of ducks come in, and said we woke up this morning and we looked out the window and the lake was covered from shore to shore with canvasback, redheads, ruddy ducks, bluebills, ringnecks, all the divers. And that was really an interesting diary that they kept.
So down to hunt.
Kind of ducks?
Yeah, what kind you like to hunt?
I like to hunt the puddle ducks, the mallard ducks and that. I went up to Canada last year and got in on a good hunt up there on the redheads and the canvasback. I hadn't hunted those for a while. And we got lucky last year. If you remember, it was, what was that storm on the East Coast? Sandy?
Yeah, I think so.
That big hurricane up there. And it blew a bunch of those ducks over there. In fact, we even killed a sea scooter. We had a hard time identifying it. We thought we knew most of the ducks, but we killed a, excuse me, a sea scooter over there that had been blown over from the East Coast.
I'll be darned.
And we had a real good hunt. We brought back some mounters there on big canvasback and big redheads.
Huh.
My opinion of it is that the young people, number one, they don't have the exposure to it. They don't have somebody to hunt with and somebody to teach them the sport. And another thing is they've got so many distractions nowadays. They got every kind of electronic game in the world and computers to play with and everything else, and they just, I don't know, they stay there bored, but they don't seem to find time to get into hunting and sport like that. It's appealed to me because it had an open area and it was accessible and viewable from any direction. You had the old river channel that used to run over here, which is now the back out, and then you got the current river channel which comes down here and goes out the back way. And it's just natural as far as I'm concerned about for duck hunting here, for the ducks to see it and land on it. And I guess one of my favorite times down here was we had a new duck hunter with us, and we wanted to introduce him to the sport. And we happened to catch us on a good day when a big flight coming through here. And I saw this whole hole here, every part of this hole, the river, the back out, and the down part here, absolutely covered with ducks. There wasn't another place for a duck to land, and there was about every species in there that you could imagine.
So a lot of good memories here.
Oh yeah, a lot of good memories, yeah. A lot of them. Saw the biggest bunch of wood ducks here I ever saw. I was setting my boat up one morning, I heard the splash behind me, I looked back and there's a big bunch of ducks, and I kind of thinking, what the heck kind of ducks are those? And I'm a son of a gun. Right behind that come another bunch, and there were about 40 ducks, and they were all wood ducks.
All wood ducks.
That's the biggest bunch of wood ducks I've ever seen. Long, I started out hunting with the Parker brothers. My grandfather started me out at Parker brothers side-by-side 20 gauge. And that was my gun. That's the one I killed my first duck with at 9 years old. Cozumel over there where we hunted sisal.
That's where I hunted in Sissel. In Sissel,
Yeah.
Sisal. That's where I hunted.
Really?
Yeah,
And
little fishing village.
This was a long time ago. This when old Fernando Valenzuela was pitching for the Dodgers.
Yeah,
And he married a school teacher there in Merida, I think it was.
yeah. That's where I usually fly into.
Yeah. That's where you fly into, and then you go by car. And I got down there a day early, and I asked the guy, I said, I'm a day early, my buddy's not going to get here till tomorrow. And he said, well, you want to hunt? And I said, I'd really love to hunt. Yes, sir. And he said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. If I can find somebody else, I'll pair you up with a guy. So he come back and he said, I got a guy down there who wants to hunt too. And I said, well, tell me a little bit about him. I'd like to know who I'm hunting with. And he said, well, he's a young kid. He's about 27 years old. And he's down here on his honeymoon. I said, you don't need to tell me anymore. Get his wife down there on his honeymoon. I want to hunt with him. And the ironic part of that hunt there, we hunted on the river down there. I can't think of the name of it now. But we went out and hunted on the river. And he and I killed 83 ducks that day. We killed everything in the world. Pintail, widgeon, blue wing, and that was one of my more memorable hunts too, when I hunted with a kid on his hunt.
Who's your buddies here?
This is Tom Wilcox, and this is Diamond Dunn.